Okay, so today we're looking to do three types of problems that all follow the same basic pattern. Okay, so we're going to compare some fractions, we're going to add some fractions, we're going to subtract some fractions. But it's a little different than the ones that we did before with comparing, adding, and subtracting. We just talked about a minute ago with our little review before we recorded adding and subtracting fractions both. What was the key move? We have to have the add or subtract fractions.
Common denominator.
Have to have a common denominator. Previously, when we did these problems, the book or I gave you the common denominators already there. Today, we're breaking new ground. You'll be given problems like these fractions to compare, or these fractions, or those fractions to add or subtract. None of those have a common denominator right now. So mission one today is going to be for us to have to find a common denominator. Does anybody remember how to do that from doing this in other years of math? Or you're looking at this one, can anybody tell me what you would choose to be this new common denominator? Any memories of that from anybody? So I'll just tell you. What you're going to have to do is pick the LCM. What does LCM stand for?
Least common multiple.
Least common multiple. So with 3 and 8, what is the least common multiple? And sometimes people get these confused with greatest common factors. So maybe hesitate a minute and make sure you're thinking about the right one of those two things. But the least common multiple of 3 and 8, anybody confidence there?
24.
It is 24. Okay, what that means is we're finding the lowest number that both of them can go into. Okay, so 8 goes into 24, 3 goes into 24, 24 is the least common multiple. It's the lowest number they both go into. Sometimes you find that number by multiplying them together, but not always. Okay, there's sometimes numbers smaller than that, and we'll get into that. Let me skip up a question. So here I go. Here's one. 6 times 4 makes 24. But there's a number smaller than 24 that can be used as our common denominator. 12. The smallest number those go into is 12, and generally in math, smaller is just better. Okay? Could you still get the question right by using 24? Yes, but you might make life harder on yourself. And for the adding and subtracting, if you go too big to begin with, what do you have to do later?
Simplify.
You have to simplify. So if you go simpler in the beginning, it can save you a little bit of bother later. But that's job one is pick the LCM. That helps you find a common denominator. We're going to make these numbers have new bottoms. Question about that? Most things you do in math also, you have to in some way pay for it. If you're dealing with fractions, you can't change the bottoms unless you also change the tops. So that's going to be step 2 of our process today. We're going to have to change the tops. Does anybody remember from this year, a couple of weeks ago, took a test a couple days ago, if we're going to change this bottom, there's a certain way we change the top.
You multiply the top the same amount as you did the bottom?
That's correct. So when we made this choice, we chose to multiply by 3. So we'll multiply the top by 3, and it's now 15. Okay, what our book called that was the name changer machine. What other books call that is making equivalent fractions. But what it boils down to is it's a multiplication. Whatever multiplication is happening on one, you match on the other. So here, just yell out anybody, here we chose to multiply by 8. So if we match that on top, it's 16. So this fraction goes out, this fraction goes out, the 2 new fractions come in. When you go to do the homework tonight, what I want to see on all the papers is the 2 new fractions. Don't just hit me on the compares with a sign. Show me the 2 new fractions you created that have to have a common denominator is the name of the game today. All week it's common denominator is the name of the game. Change the bottom, change the tops, and then just do the problem. Okay? Now that we have this done, we can see who's bigger. 16 beats 15, so game done. Okay? But if you didn't have the common denominators, it's pretty competitive. You know, 5 out of 8 on a quiz, is that better or worse than 2 out of 3 on a quiz?
2 out of 3 is better.
2 out of 3 is better, but not by much, you know, and it's hard to like be sure, unless you have a common denominator. So if you have common denominators, you're sure. So let's finish this one. We changed the bottom, so if we change the top, let's go ahead and pick on you. We'll get a different person each time. What do you think about this top?
2 times 10.
So that's going to be a 10. So that's out, 10's in. Pick on you. What do you think for this top?
6.
Try again.
Oh.
You added it instead of multiplying.
9.
9.
Yeah.
Anybody question how they made those tops?
I don't understand how they did those.
Okay, so he multiplied the bottom by 3, so you multiply the top by 3. Is that good? Then once you did that, boom, 10 beats 9. Common denominator here. These are going to go out. New numbers are coming in. Somebody just yell, who's the common denominator number? 30. If you have trouble doing that, here's my suggestion. Take the bigger number and just count by it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Count as high as you have to count. And then keep trying to take 3 in, the littler number in. So can 3 go into 10? No. So try 20. 3 into 20? No. Try 30. 3 into 30? Yeah. Jackpot. We hit it. Change top?
You would put 21.
It is 21. Change the top. What'd you say?
40?
It is. And now we know that wins. 8 and 5. So what I would do is I would just count through my 8s. 8, 16, 24. Just keep counting by 8s. Sooner or later, 5 is going to help work. Anybody an opinion? Who's this going to be? 40 is correct. So bottom's going to be 40. Anybody trouble with the 40? So let's change top. What do you think? We'll give you a second to think. Check in with him. We're going to make you do that top. 16 will be that one. We did the bottom times 8. So top times 8 for that one to be out. It'll be 15. So once we pick the bottom, once we change the tops, it's time to just do the problem. That's going to be less than, on we go. Some of the problems for add and subtract, we might need to simplify, but we might not. These we don't need to simplify, okay? If we reduce these, what sort of silly thing would happen to us?
We just get the original
We'd be
numbers.
right back to where we started, where we didn't really know what we were doing, you know? So 7 out of 10, better or worse than 2 out of 3, you know, it's a tough call. 7 out of 10 is a little bit better. If you common denominator make, it's clear to see that. But that's topic 1 is compare. Question about compare. Okay, add and subtract. Sometimes they're going to write the problems like working sideways, and some people prefer to just write some fractions working sideways. Sometimes they're going to write them in stacks, so sometimes people prefer to put these numbers into stacks. Does it really matter how it's written? No? Okay, but it's up to you. If you like writing stuff across, write stuff across. If you like adding stuff in stacks, add them in stacks. I don't really care. But what I do want to see on your paper is pick a new bottom. So with 3 and 9, what would you pick?
9.
9. Okay, 3 itself goes into 9. So the problem should have a bunch of 9s. The answer should have something with 9s. Don't change the bottoms once you have them be common. So 3 and 9 can both be made 9s. This we catch a break. If the bottom isn't going to change, then the top doesn't need to change. Still a 2. If the bottom does change, then the top does change.
6.
It is 6. So again, on the homework, I don't care if you copy the problem, but I do want to see the 2 new fractions you made as well as an answer. This answer would get us, for now, 8. And now, more so that we've crossed this line, we may need to simplify. So by simplify, I mean if the top is bigger, that's what's that called? Top's bigger?
Improper.
Improper, we want to fix those. If we can reduce, we would. Is there anything wrong with 8/9, or is that best answer available? That is best answer available. That's why I said simplify, question mark, question mark. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Something there. So next one up, pick a new bottom. 8 is best. 8 is best because it's smallest, but if you did 16 or 32 or something, you could get it. You just have to do a lot of reducing. 3/4 transition, new top is 6. How about this 3/8?
3.
You just leave it alone. Why not 9?
Because it's improper.
No,
Oh, wait.
better reason why
Oh,
not
'cause
9.
they're subtracting.
It's subtracting. So the homework's gonna add some, it's gonna subtract some. Don't just get in the add habit. This is a subtract, makes
3.
3. Improve it or best?
Best.
That is best. Question about that? Okay. If the homework writes it in stacks, it's the same process. Okay, look at the bottoms, 4 and 6, best play is 12. So this one is out,
6.
9.
9. This one's out,
10.
10. Anybody trouble with how we pulled that switch at the beginning? Okay, then what answer is showing up?
12, 19, but you gotta reduce.
19 on top of 12, but the top's bigger, so that's called
Improper.
improper. So you divide 12 into 19, goes once. Leftovers,
Yeah.
7. So how's that look?
1 and 7 12.
1 and 7 twelfths. The division goes there, the remainder goes there, and just don't mess with the bottom. Once you got the bottom to match, don't mess with it. Something there. This one, new bottom,
12.
twelfths. So answer has to have twelfths. Top,
8.
8 on this one because we multiplied by 4s.
And
9 on that one, we multiplied by 3s.
17.
17 for now, but that's improper. So change your root, 1 and
5
5 twelfths. Question about those 4? Last one, bottom,
12.
12s. New top,
10.
10. Correct. Other new top,
9.
9. Why not 19 twelfths?
Because it is minus.
It's subtracting, so
1 12.
1 12. Question about any of this stuff? See where we are. We're going to take on 3 letter groups. We just did 3 things, so that's 3 lessons. So again, I'll continue to say once in a while, we end up finishing the book in March because some of these days we're not doing 1 lesson, we're doing like 2, 3 lessons. And then we'll worry about that when we get there. But we're first going to, the earliest page number, there's a 126. 126, we're going to go in A to F. $129 is the next page up. The 129 has an A to E. 134 is the next page up. There's an A to F. And then I'm just going to stop with that. We're just going to go the letter groups. There's 3 letter groups. We'll skip the 1 to 25. That's actually a little shorter than you usually get, but so be it. So if you are an assignment writer-downer, write that down and also write down study for quiz. Whatever ones you missed when we took that practice run on that fraction vocab, study for that. And there's still about 15 minutes left that you can get a move on that. Tomorrow, Noah, is basically an instant replay of today's. The only difference really tomorrow is if I stick in like a 2 and a 3, now it's 5 and 8/9. Or if this one had a 2 and a 3 to make 5 for a second, then this one upgraded us to a 6. Or if I threw you like 3 or 4 fractions instead of 2, it's the same process. Now the common denominator needs all of those numbers to go in. change more tops. It's the same process, it's just a little bit bigger, so. You shouldn't really need to watch any videos or do anything tomorrow other than we'll end up doing set view. Some of the subtracts could end up borrowing, but you're fine on borrowing. Like if I went to, you know what I mean, like, so there's the mixed numbers can lead you to borrowing in the subtracts, but it's kind of a retread tomorrow.